The rain fell softly over the silent streets of the city, tracing silver lines down cracked windows and empty alleys. In an old, forgotten corner of the public library, dust floated like tiny golden fireflies, disturbed only by the trembling hands of a young girl. Clara, the kind-hearted twin with deep, black skin and eyes that seemed to see the soul of the world, brushed her fingers over a worn, leather-bound diary. Its cover was cracked, its pages yellow with age, and yet the handwriting inside seemed alive, almost whispering secrets directly into her mind. Every word pulsated with raw honesty, revealing emotions that people hid behind polite smiles, fake laughter, and guarded hearts. She opened it slowly. The first lines were a quiet confession, yet the words struck her like a lightning bolt, exposing the truth about human hearts, the lies we live, and the feelings we fear to show. And then there was Lydia, her twin, whose pale, white face was sharp with arrogance, whose laughter could cut deeper than any blade. She would never understand the empathy this diary demanded, but the diary had chosen Clara, and through her, it would uncover secrets that could shake their world to its very core. In the next hours, the lost diary would not only reveal the hidden emotions of strangers, but it would mirror the unspoken truths between two sisters, one glowing with kindness, the other with defiance. And as the rain poured outside, a silent truth whispered, "The heart sees what the eyes cannot." The rain had been falling all morning, turning the narrow cobblestone streets into rivers of reflective silver. Clara, her dark skin glowing faintly under the streetlights, hurried through the alleys clutching a simple umbrella. Her heart was restless. She had been feeling a strange pull all day, an invisible tug guiding her towards something she couldn't yet name. She rounded a corner and saw it, the old public library. Its facade had faded with decades, paint peeling in jagged strips, windows foggy with age. Most people walked past without a second glance, but Clara felt the pull intensify. It was as if the library itself whispered to her, beckoning her inside. Stepping through the doors, she was hit by the scent of old paper and wood polish. Dust motes floated in the sunlight, streaming through the cracked windows, giving the space a timeless, ethereal glow. She wandered between the towering shelves, each lined with books whose spines seemed to carry secrets of generations past. It was then that she saw it, a diary, leather-bound and worn, almost hidden between two massive encyclopedias. Its cover was cracked, the leather soft and fragile from age. Something about it made her stomach flutter. She reached out, and the moment her fingers brushed the cover, a shiver ran through her. The first page was fragile, yellowed, with handwriting so precise yet intimate that it felt as if the writer were whispering directly to her. She opened the diary carefully. "Everyone wears a mask," the first line read. "Some hide behind smiles, others behind anger. But truth lives in the spaces between words." Clara's eyes widened. She had always believed she could sense emotions, but these words seemed to reach further, into the very hearts of those around her. She turned another page. The diary told stories of loneliness, hidden pain, love unspoken, and kindness unappreciated. Each line was raw, a mirror reflecting not only strangers' emotions, but, uncomfortably, her own feelings. And then she heard footsteps, sharp, impatient. "Lydia!" Clara called, her voice trembling slightly. Her twin sister emerged from the shadows of the library's vast shelves. Her skin was pale, her expression sharp, eyes rolling in that familiar, dismissive way. "What are you doing here, Clara?" "Getting cozy with old, smelly books again." Lydia sneered, smirking. "Honestly, sometimes I wonder how you even survive with that kind heart of yours." Clara clenched the diary against her chest. This is important," she said softly. "You wouldn't understand." "Of course I wouldn't," Lydia laughed, the sound echoing like glass breaking in the quiet library. "You always take things so seriously. Lighten up, will you?" Clara's heart sank, but she didn't respond. Instead, she turned back to the diary, feeling the pull of its pages. She flipped to the next entry. "Kindness is rare. It is a flame in the dark, often overlooked, yet it warms those who need it most." Her thoughts drifted to herself, to Lydia, and to the countless moments of friction between them. One sister, naturally kind, giving everything and asking little in return. The other, sharp-tongued and self-centered, always taking, never noticing. Yet this diary, it seemed to see past appearances, digging into the very core of who people truly were. Hours passed. Clara lost herself in the diary, reading stories that spanned decades, strangers whose lives intersected in moments of despair and joy, whose emotions were hidden beneath the mask society forced them to wear. Every page was a revelation, and with every word, she felt the weight of empathy settle deeper within her chest. At some point, Lydia sat down across from her, silent. Clara could feel the tension, the unspoken rivalry between them. But then, to her surprise, Lydia reached out, almost hesitantly, toward the diary. This is kind of interesting, Lydia muttered, her voice unusually soft. I never thought maybe people feel things they never say. Clara looked up, eyes meeting her sister's pale ones. For the first time in years, she saw a flicker of curiosity in Lydia, a crack in the armor of rudeness. The diary had begun its work. It wasn't just revealing truths about strangers anymore. It was revealing truths about the twins themselves. And Clara understood the journey of discovery was only beginning. The morning sun barely touched the city, its golden rays struggling through heavy clouds, as if reluctant to witness the unfolding secrets. Clara had returned to the library, the lost diary clutched tightly against her chest. She felt a strange mixture of excitement and trepidation. The diary was no longer just a book. It was a bridge into the hearts of people she had never met, and now, strangely, into her own life. Lydia lingered at the doorway, arms crossed, a frown playing on her pale face. "You're really obsessed with that thing," she said, her tone sharp, though less dismissive than yesterday. "What's so special about a bunch of old pages, anyway?" Clara looked up, her eyes calm but piercing. "It's not just pages. It's the truth people can't say. It shows you things you can't see with your eyes alone." Lydia raised an eyebrow. "Truth? You mean whining about feelings no one cares about?" Clara didn't answer. She had learned long ago that Lydia's arrogance was a shield for something deeper. Insecurity she refused to confront. But as she opened the diary, the air between them seemed to still, and for a moment, the library felt suspended in time. The diary's pages revealed confessions of people who had hidden kindness behind cruelty, bravery behind fear, and love behind indifference. Each story seemed more alive than the last, each word imbued with emotion so raw it was almost unbearable to witness. Clara felt herself trembling as she read an entry from a woman who had cared for strangers in silence, never seeking recognition, never asking for thanks. Yet her small acts had changed countless lives. "You actually read this stuff?" Lydia's voice broke through, unexpectedly quiet this time. Her eyes, sharp as ice, betrayed a glimmer of curiosity. I mean, who even writes like this?" Clara glanced at her sister, surprised by the unusual softness in her tone. She realized that the diary's truth was not just for her. It was affecting Lydia, too. Slowly, hesitance melted into fascination, and Lydia sat down beside Clara, her posture stiff but attentive, as Clara continued reading. A particular entry caught her attention. It was a confession of a man who had been cruel to his own sister, only realizing later that his arrogance had cost him the most important relationship of his life. The words echoed in Clara's mind, striking a chord deep within her heart. She glanced at Lydia, seeing a reflection of the story in her sister's sharp features, the same pride, the same unchecked impulses, the same inability to express remorse. "Clara," Lydia began, her voice faltering, "do you think people can really change?" Clara's heart pounded. The question was more than philosophical. It was personal. She looked at Lydia, at the twin who had been her constant shadow, rival, and companion. "Yes," she said softly, "if they're willing to face the truth inside themselves." The diary seemed to pulse in response, as if approving Clara's words. It had already begun to work its magic, peeling back layers of pride, arrogance, and fear, revealing glimpses of humanity in the most unlikely places. Hours passed, the rain outside softening into a mist. Clara and Lydia remained engrossed in the diary, each entry opening new windows into the minds and hearts of strangers. Yet, inevitably, the stories began to hit closer to home. Confessions of envy, anger, unspoken love, and guilt mirrored their own lives, their own unacknowledged feelings toward one another. Clara's fingers trembled as she turned a page. She read aloud a passage about two sisters, one kind, forgiving, generous, the other arrogant, dismissive, yet capable of profound understanding when confronted with the truth. Lydia flinched, and Clara noticed the faintest shadow of remorse cross her sister's features. The diary, though anonymous, had found its way into the hearts of the twins, revealing what they could not say to each other, the truths buried beneath years of rivalry and misunderstanding. And in that moment, Clara realized something profound. The diary was not merely a mirror of strangers' lives. It was a mirror of their own, a guide toward empathy, forgiveness, and connection. The city was quiet under the gray blanket of morning clouds. The rain from previous days had left the streets slick, reflecting the dim glow of street lamps that still linger from night. Clara walked slowly toward the old library, clutching the diary tightly. Her heart beat with anticipation. This wasn't just another day of reading anymore. She could feel that the diary was leading her, guiding her towards something monumental. Lydia followed at a distance, her pale face tense, a flicker of irritation evident in her sharp eyes. Yet, unlike before, there was hesitation in her step, a sense of curiosity that Clara had never seen in her twin. The diary's influence was reaching deeper than either of them had anticipated. Inside the library, the air was thick with the smell of old wood and paper. Dust particles danced in golden sunlight, filtering through the cracked windows. The diary lay open on the floor between the sisters. Clara knelt beside it, her expression calm but intense, while Lydia's sharp gaze lingered on the pages, as if expecting them to leap off and reveal their secrets by magic. The first entry Clara read, aloud, struck both of them with profound weight. Some hearts are locked not by others, but by their own fears. Love, forgiveness, and understanding are treasures hidden behind walls of pride, arrogance, and unspoken pain. To see truly, one must first remove their masks. Clara's eyes softened. She glanced at Lydia, seeing the familiar defiance mingle with something new, doubt. Lydia, normally sharp-tongued and impatient, sat in silence, the arrogance in her posture slowly ebbing away. You think, I could ever be like the sisters in these stories? Lydia's voice was hesitant, barely above a whisper. Clara shook her head gently. Not like them, but their story shows that everyone has a choice. Even you. The diary seemed to pulse between them, a silent witness to their unspoken conflict and shared history. Each page they turned revealed truths that echoed in their own lives. Acts of betrayal, moments of kindness, choices that shaped destinies. It wasn't just revealing the lives of strangers anymore. It was reflecting the very essence of Clara and Lydia's relationship. Hours passed. Each revelation in the diary pressed on their hearts, demanding introspection. Stories of siblings mending broken bonds, strangers forgiving deep betrayals, and heroes embracing humility wove a tapestry of emotional complexity. The twins felt the weight of each narrative, its echoes bouncing back at their own unresolved tensions. At one point, Clara read aloud a particularly heart-wrenching confession. I spent years despising my sister for her success and her freedom, blind to the sacrifices she made and the love she quietly offered. Pride kept us apart, and I wasted precious time before realizing the truth, that understanding comes only when a heart chooses to see. Clara's voice faltered. She looked at Lydia, and for the first time, she saw tears welling in her sister's pale eyes. The twin who had always been cruel, dismissive, and impatient was now confronting the truth of her own arrogance. Lydia's hand trembled as it hovered near the diary. She swallowed hard, then slowly reached out, touching the edge of the pages. I never knew. Her voice cracked, raw and vulnerable. I didn't realize how much I've hurt people, including you. Clara's heart swelled with emotion. She had long wished for a moment like this, not for confrontation, but for connection. She reached out, holding Lydia's hand. It's never too late, she whispered. We can start now, together. For the first time in years, the twins sat side by side, unified not by their differences, but by the truth revealed through the diary. The black-skinned twin, embodiment of kindness and empathy, and the white-skinned twin, confronting her own flaws, began to understand each other beyond words and appearances. The diary's final pages glimmered with unfinished confessions, reminders that life was a continuous journey of learning, forgiving, and loving. And in that quiet library, amidst the dust, the rain, and the golden light, the twins experienced a profound realization that truth and empathy could bridge even the deepest divides. Life is a tapestry woven from hidden emotions, unspoken truths, and silent struggles. People wear masks every day. Some hide their pain behind anger. Others conceal kindness behind humility. But the heart sees what the eyes cannot. True understanding begins when we look beyond appearances, when we dare to explore the layers beneath a person's words, actions, and expressions. Kindness, though often overlooked, is the most powerful force in the world. Arrogance, cruelty, or pride may cloud perception, but empathy has the ability to illuminate even the darkest corners of the soul. The diary in this story reminds us that everyone has a story, everyone carries unseen burdens, and everyone deserves to be seen for who they truly are. Even the relationships that seem strained beyond repair, like the bond between these two sisters, can be healed when we confront hidden truths, acknowledge mistakes, and choose compassion over resentment. Forgiveness is not a weakness. It is courage. Understanding is not always easy, but it is transformative. So let this story be a reminder. The smallest act of kindness can ripple through lives in ways we cannot imagine. The courage to see beyond the mask, to embrace empathy, and to love despite flaws is what changes hearts. And sometimes it even changes the world. Asterisk.